Okay, we're going to do our next math lesson, and I'm going to just kind of arrange that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and fold my paper into 8 squares. I do hamburger, 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 and we're going to talk about renaming improper fractions and mixed numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my lines on the paper so that it's really easy for you to see what we're doing. And I'm also going to do that on the back. So my ruler is getting covered in purple pen. Getting a big workout this year. All right, so the lesson we're working on today, I'm writing my name at the top, and we're going to do lesson 6.5. And we're going to work on, this lesson only has pages 264 to 266. All right, so I'm looking at page 264, and our objective with this lesson is to be able to rename improper fractions and mixed numbers. And this is something that you're going to use a lot. You're going to use it all the time, especially when you're in 5th grade and 6th grade. And if you become a famous chef and you're going to be baking, you will probably do this all the time as well, because people who are bakers often use fractions and mixed numbers, definitely. So we're looking at a model to show us how to rename improper fractions and mixed numbers. So this is showing us 4/3, right? And if we zoom in really close, you can see that this is showing 4/3 as a mixed number. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 of the thirds are shaded purple. And if you squint your eyes, we know that 4/3 is an improper fraction. And so if we squint our eyes and we look at it, this is one whole circle is shaded, and 1 out of 3 is shaded. So I know that 4/3 is the same thing as one whole, right? And one whole is the same thing as 3/3, and then we have 1/3, and 3/3 is one whole, plus 1/3 is 1 1/3. Okay, so 4/3 is the same thing as 1 1/3. And we're going to do a few together. Actually, we'll do one problem together. We're going to look at 13/5. Okay, so on number 1, we have 13/5. And in your book, you have a little picture that is showing you 13/5. So it's showing you 3 circles, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw them in this square. So I have 1, 2, 3 circles, right? And these are divided into fifths, which looks like a stick man. Arms out, legs out, straight down, arms out, legs out, straight down, arms out, legs out. So I have one entire circle shaded, and I'm going to make it look just like the book. I'm going to try to. Let's see. Oh, there's my blue pencil. So I'm going to take my blue pencil and I'm going to shade in what is shaded in the book, right? So I have 2 of these circles are completely shaded. So that's 5/5. This is another 5/5. And then I have 3 more shaded. right? So this is 13 fifths. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And each one of them has fifths. Now, when I do that, if I'm using the green boxes, it says 13 fifths equals how many fifths? So that equals how many fifths? Well, it equals 13 fifths, right? So that equals, let's see, we're doing plus fifths. I'm just writing the exact same green boxes that are in your book because I think they do a really good job solving. And you know that when you see the green box is tipped on its end that it's going to have a fraction in it, right? So I'm just putting the bar in there, and that equals this. Okay? So we know that if we have 13 fifths, that's the same as 13 fifths, right? I'm just writing it in a different way. And then I know that I have actually these whole ones are 10 fifths, right? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 fifths plus 3 fifths here, right? And that's going to equal 10 fifths plus 3 fifths. And so I know that if I have 10 fifths, that's the same as 2 wholes, right? And because I know that 10 fifths is the same thing as 5 fifths plus 5 fifths, right? 5 out of 5 is 1 whole. 5 out of 5 is 1 whole. And so I have 10 fifths. So that means I have 2 wholes, right? That's where this comes from. You can even put a little arrow. I have 2 wholes. And then I still have the 3 fifths. And so that's going to equal 2 and 3 fifths. All right? So that's a way using a picture to figure that out. You can't always have time to draw a picture to do this process. So another way to do it is to use division. And they're showing you how to do that on this page. So if we want to rename 7/3 as a mixed number, the fraction bar means divided by. So 7/3 means 7 divided by 3. So if we go ahead and divide 7 by 3, we end up with 2. That's the number of wholes. The remainder and the is going to be the denominator right here. This is going to be the numerator is the remainder. So you end up with 2 and 1/3. Okay? So let me show you that let's look at it in a couple of different ways. Let's look at it with a drawing, and then let's also look at it, and we're going to look at it down here. We have enough room to kind of spread out. So let's look at that problem if we say rename 7/3. Okay, so we're going to take 7/3 and we're going to rename it. Now 7/3 looks like this. If I had 1, 2, and let's say these are divided into 3. And if I colored that in, they don't have this in your book, but if I went ahead and colored that in, I would have 3/3, right? So this is 3/3 or 1 whole. This is 3/3 or 1 whole. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I need to color one of these. So I would have 1/3. So if I add these together, 3/3 plus 3/3 plus 1/3 is 2 1/3. Okay, so that's the way to do it using a picture. But like I said, you're not always going to have time to do that. And you're not always going to have little colored pencils or paper near you. So the algorithmic way of doing that, using a math algorithm, is to divide. So this means 7 divided by 3. When I see this bar right here, the bar means divided by. So this is 7 divided by 3, which looks like this. Right? That's what we're familiar with looking at. And so if I divide this, 3 will go into 7 2 times, right? 3 times 2 is 6. And I subtract and I get a remainder of 1. This number right here is going to be our whole number. Right? This number right here is going to be our numerator. This number right here is going to be our denominator. So we read it 2 1/3, right? We get the same answer as we get from drawing the picture, but it's a little bit quicker, right? And we didn't have to have colored pencils. So think of this fraction bar as always meaning divided by, and then you take 7, you divide it by 3, and that tells you what your mixed number is going to be, okay? Now we're going to use that same rule to do number 2, okay? So number 2, and I'm going to still use my colored pencils. I like showing it both ways. So the first problem is 15/4, right? So I want to show 15/4, and I'm going to draw it because I like fraction bars a little bit better. So I'm going to draw fourths. And I'm going to probably need 4 of them to show 15/4. So I'm going to use some awesome green. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show this is 4/4, 4/4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I am showing with my little drawing 15/4. This is 4/4. This is 4/4. This is 4/4.